All right, so it is officially that time of the week again. We've got ourselves another Grow a Garden update. Like we do here every single week, we're going to go over the brand new event, all of the brand new pets, as well as pretty much everything else that this update has to offer. So that way you guys know exactly what you need to do as you're jumping on right now. So as always, let's waste no more time and get right into this. Let's go ahead and start off with pretty much one of the biggest and probably the most questionable things of this entire update. And that is going to be located right over here, sort of behind all of the farms on the right-hand side. If you're facing the seed shop as well as the sell stuff, here you're going to find the Garden Ascension NPC. So yes, in other words, there's going to basically be rebirthing in Grow a Garden as of today. When you come up to this NPC, you're basically going to have two options. You'll have the option to go ahead and figure out what it's going to cost you to ascend, which as you can see right here, I haven't ascended at all whatsoever. And it says, are you sure you want to ascend? You will get 10 garden coins, but lose all of your shekels. Ascension requirements, 1 trillion cash, as well as a frozen elder strawberry. That is basically all you need to go ahead and ascend one time. And in return, like it says up here, you'll receive 10 garden coins. Now, obviously, the catch here is that you are going to be losing every single bit of your shekels. This is sort of like a questionable system. Jandel has already sort of said that they may or may not keep this, maybe make some adjustments to it. So if you're sort of on the fence about it, I would suggest that you sort of skip this maybe for the next day or two, because we could potentially see some changes depending on what the community says. Either way, if you decide to do this, you will go ahead and receive those coins where you can then talk to this NPC again and ask, what are you selling? In here, for the most part, nothing is really too crazy. And technically speaking, if you ascend one time, you can only really afford one thing inside of here. But anyways, inside of here, there is 5 different options for you to go ahead and upgrade, a total of 5 times each. The only one that's different from the total 5 that are in here is the first one, which is save slot upgrades. This goes ahead and gives you a 3rd save slot for a total of 50 garden coins, but this can only be upgraded one time. After that, you have egg capacity upgrade, which can be done a total of 5 times, pet inventory capacity upgrade, cosmetic inventory capacity upgrade, which technically is the only thing that you can do as soon as you ascend the first time, and then finally, plant inventory capacity upgrade. So it isn't really like the most necessary thing for you to do as soon as the update drops. In my opinion, I will probably skip out on this until we get a little bit more information and all the hot fixes and stuff like that. Because although shekels are kind of useless right now, it sort of is reassuring to have a good amount, you know? But now, at this point, you're probably like, well, Carbon, that doesn't really seem like something that I'm really interested in. At least not where I'm willing to lose all of my coins. I wish they would have done something a little bit better with those garden coins. And the reality is that technically there is. If we go ahead and come over here to the seed shop and we talk to Sam, you'll notice that on the right-hand side, it says feed NPC to unlock. If I go ahead and grab a food that I have here, it's a basically Choco Mythical Mangosteen Willowberry Poseidon Plant Smoothie. I'm going to go ahead and feed this to Sam. And if you notice, he will go ahead and increase 5 points out of 15. The goal here is to basically feed him food that you go ahead and craft inside of your cooking pot over here, which if you took part in anything of the last update, then you definitely already have your cooking pot, and then just basically feed him. The catch here is though, that basically once you feed him, you have a total of like 24 hours before you can feed him again. So it takes a long time to go ahead and actually fill up this bar, unless for some absolute miracle you come up with something that can feed him and give you a total of 15 points on your first try. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's possible, but if it is, good for you. Let us know in the comment section. Either way, you're probably wondering what's inside of here, and I do have screenshots to show you guys, because yes, there is going to be brand new seeds that you can trade in those garden coins instead of going for the upgrades. So if you notice over here, it goes ahead and unlocks the tier 2 shop. In here, you'll find broccoli seed. You'll also find yourself potato seed as a mythical, a Brussels sprout seed as a divine, and as your prismatic, you will find a cocoa mango seed. The catch here, obviously, is that yes, you will need to go ahead and get this to level 3 for the NPC in order to even purchase the cocoa mango seed, which also on top of that, you'll probably notice that at the top, it basically goes ahead and resets. I believe it's every single hour. So unlike this one over here that updates every single 5 minutes, this one does it every hour. Now, unfortunately, there is no way of bypassing this cooldown. There is nothing that you can purchase purchase for Robux or anything like that. You just gotta wait, man. Kind of unfortunate. I know the highest points I've been able to get is 8, but I'm sure that someone out there probably knows how to get 15 if that's possible. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead now and jump in to the main event here, which is obviously going to be the fairy event. This one is actually pretty cool. And honestly, I feel like there's a lot of different components to this that I'm going to try my very best to go ahead and break down for you guys as quick as possible. So basically, over here, you're going to have yourself the fountain power. There is 2 separate ways for you to go ahead and fill up this fountain. You can either go ahead and get yourself some of these glimmering mutations on any of the fruits that you have in your farm, and then just basically throw them in. So I'm going to go ahead and collect a couple of these to basically show you guys what I mean. All right, so here we go. If you look at the bottom, I have a bunch of different stuff that is now glimmering in my inventory. Instead, we're going to walk up to here, make a wish, and then we're going to offer all plants. This is going to go ahead and fill up the bar right up here with basically points towards the fountain of power. If you fill that bar up to 200, it's going to go ahead and basically, if we open up the show task menu, it's going to basically allow you to move on to the next task. But of course, there is a much easier way for you to do this, and that is just by completing your task. In my case, it is asking me right now for a glimmering corn, and I actually do have a corn available right over here, and I have a glimmering mutation spray available to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this, give it the glimmering mutation, grab the corn, and we're going to head back to the event. At this point, we just come up to here. Notice how it is still 85 out of 200. We're going to place offer plants, and we can now go ahead and make a wish. Very similar to like the cooking update. As soon as I click on make a wish, it basically is going to bring up 3 randomly generated rewards. I just completed tier 2, so these are the rewards that I was able to get. You have obviously a brand new enchanted seed pack with a bunch of brand new seeds inside of it. You got yourself enchanted egg with a bunch of new pets, which we'll go over later on in the video. Then you have fairy points, which I have not explained to you what they are yet. And then of course, glimmering radar, glimmering mutation spray, which I'm sure you understand what both of those are and I don't have to explain. The final one is a fairy targeter. In our case, we got enchanted egg, enchanted seed pack, as well as the glimmering radar. I can go ahead and spend the 39 Robux to re-roll this, but I'm just going to go ahead and pick the seed pack, which then now we are given a brand new task, which in my case is a glimmering dragon fruit or a glimmering cactus. If we go ahead and make a wish again, and this time we go to show me fountain rewards, here you can see what you're going to get for every single tier. For the most part, every tier is going to give you kind of basic stuff, to be honest. Just pretty much kind of like increase those probabilities of you being able to get the good stuff. Like for example, at tier 3, you see the pet shard for the first time. It's a 1.72%. But then for tier 4, it bumps it up to a 3.03 while also lowering down the chances of getting pretty much everything else. But at the very end, once you make it to tier 5, you have a 5.88% chance of getting the new Aurora Vine seed. Now, I just went ahead and completed tier 3. The next one here is now offer 1 sun bulb and 1 glimmering dragon fruit. And after that, we have a glimmering grape as well as a glimmering giant pine cone. Now, as you can see, unfortunately, this is technically my tier 5 reward. And I did get myself a pet shard with glimmering, which is great and all, considering it is the same percentage as being able to get the Aurora Vine. But I really want that Aurora Vine just for the sake of the video. I do feel like low-key, it's kind of a dumb idea for me to go ahead and reroll, even though technically we do know what a glimmering pet shard is going to end up doing, but I'm going to reroll. And with my luck, we got the Aurora Vine in my first reroll. Let's go, baby. So now, once you've completed the fairy favors, you have 2 options here. You can go ahead and spend 59 Robux to restart all over again, or you can spend 7,500 fairy points, which, keep in mind, every time that you do complete this, whether you do or don't choose the fairy point reward, you basically do get a little bit of a chunk of fairy points as a reward. So in total right now, I have 25,000. I'm going to go ahead and restart this. And if you notice, now for me, it is a glimmering blueberry instead of what it was the first time, which was a glimmering tomato. So it is going to be pretty much different for all of you. But now you're probably wondering, what are these fairy points for? If we go ahead and turn around, you're going to find the fairy godmother. Talk to her and click on the option that says, show me the upgrades. Inside of here, you will be able to upgrade all different types of things to sort of make this entire event a lot easier for you guys. In my case, I've spent a good amount of points on Glimmer Multiplier, which is why when you go into my garden, you're able to see so many plants with Glimmer on them. The other one is Roaming Fairy Spawn Amount. I have not shown you guys this because none has actually spawned in yet because the event technically hasn't started. There's still 18 minutes until the event goes ahead and starts. But basically, fairies go ahead and spawn all over the map. When you talk to them, they give you a decent amount of fairy points. So if I go ahead and upgrade this, more of them will just spawn for me. I'll probably go ahead and upgrade this one time just because why not? Now I get a total of 4, so that's good. Next, we have the fairy event duration. This is probably an important one to go ahead and upgrade, which honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't need to explain that. The final one is kind of confusing because you're probably like, well, this is talking about the spawn amount, but this is also talking about the spawn amount. So there's sort of like 2 different type. Roaming fairy spawn are the ones that spawn outside of everyone's garden, and they're sort of just like roaming around the map. You talk to them, they give you fairy points in exchange. The fairy spawn amount is basically how many fairies are going to spawn when the event starts up that basically fly into your garden and give you Glimmer on your plants. By default, it's 3. I'm going to bump that up to pretty much, I don't know. I'm going to do just 4. And then I'm probably going to bump up this one and this one just because I can go ahead and recuperate some of my points here, which I can then go ahead and upgrade that bottom one later. But yeah, for the most part, that is the event section. I am going to go ahead and wait until those fairies spawn so I can show you guys, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Can see how it'll be a little bit confusing at first, so that's sort of why I wanted to explain it. But we're technically not done because if we travel over here to our crafting section, inside of here, you're going to notice that there is a new item called Event Lantern. You can go ahead and craft this. It'll teleport you straight to the event area. Kind of straightforward, and it's actually pretty decent. It isn't really the most expensive materials. You have 1 apple, a recall wrench, and 350k shekels. In return, you'll receive 30 of these teleports. Under that, you'll find the Glimmering Mutation Spray. Again, not really the most difficult stuff to get. 1 orange tulip seed, 1 daffodil seed, a mango fruit, 1 mil shekels, and 1 cleaning spray. In exchange for 3 of the mutation sprays. Aside from that, we move over now to the recipe crafting section, and at the very top, you will now notice that you can craft mandrakes. So in case you missed the giant shop, you can go ahead now and purchase them in here, or I should say craft them. Now, unfortunately, Gear Shop and the Egg Shop are still very much the exact same. Same for the garden guide. Nothing has changed over there. That's pretty much the entire spiel for this update as far as the event goes and any new little things that were added. Now we have to go over the good stuff, and that is obviously okay. And then I get a sun bulb. Great. That is the pets, the part that you guys look forward to the most. As I showed you guys before, these are the new pets right here. We have Ladybug, Pixie, Imp, Glimmering Sprite, as well as the Cockatrice. I think I'm saying that right. So let's do these in order because I do have a Ladybug, and I'm going to show you guys what that does. It says all flower type plants grow 1.59 times faster. That's pretty much it. Next up, we've got the Imp over here. Let's go ahead and show you guys what he says. Every 6 minutes and 66 seconds, the Imp will playfully invite you to chase it. Catching the Imp will grant a random reward. The Imp has a 15.22% chance to play again on a successful chase. What those rewards are is an absolute mystery right now. We actually have no idea. But what I am seeing right now is one of those fairies. You see it right over there? Technically, I should be able to get some points right now. Let me talk to the fairy really quick if I make it in time. There we go. Twinkle Beam. And it goes straight to my garden. And it will basically go ahead and give me a Glimmering Mutation and just leave. So there you go. You got to see one of those randomly. I know that was kind of off topic, but I sort of saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I wanted to make sure that I showed you guys. Unfortunately for Pixie, I don't have one, and for some reason, no one in my server has one, which is surprising. But here it is. It says every 3 minutes and 33 seconds, it spreads Pixie Dust for 15.18 seconds. all plants within 15.91 studs will advance growth an extra 30 seconds every second. Also makes nearby players levitate. Next up, we've got the Glimmering Sprite. This one says every 3 minutes and 33 seconds, it flies to a nearby fruit and enchants it, applying the Glimmering mutation. So probably one of the more efficient ones that you want to have for the event. And then finally, the Holy Grail. I actually haven't been able to see this in game, but this one says every 19 minutes, it goes ahead and lets out a screech. All nearby fruits within 20 studs have a 20% chance to turn silver with a 1% chance to turn gold instead. Every 10 minutes, it spits venom at 5.21 different fruits, eggs, pets, which honestly at this point you're probably like, well, that doesn't exactly explain a lot. But when it spits the venom, if it lands on fruits, they will get the toxic mutation. If it lands on an egg, it advances it by 81 seconds. And if it lands on a pet, it gains 805 XP. So definitely an interesting one, that's for sure. But now honestly, I'm sure you guys are super curious about the Aurora Vine seed. So let's go ahead and plant this, compare a little bit of values here as well as what it looks like. So I shall be right back once this is grown. All right, so after about an hour since the last time that I recorded, our Aurora Vine has finally gone ahead and grown. At the top here, it is currently growing what seems to be like the only one that can grow, so it is kind of like a single grow plant. And the price on this is 227k, which honestly is fairly decent. It actually didn't take long at all for the actual plant itself to grow on it. I'm gonna be honest, man, since the moment that it 100% fully grown to the moment that this Aurora Vine is now completely pickable, it probably took, give or take, about 5 or 7 minutes. So, I mean, honestly, not the most insane price, but that's some pretty quick grow time. Either way, here it is right here. And as a matter of fact, if I turn my screen around here, you'll probably notice this ridiculous plant that's sort of flapping around. This is the new, pretty much rarest plant, which is called the Wispwing. This guy has like a lot of mutations on this. I think this guy is actually Night Fox. Is it? I think it's Night Fox. But anyways, that's basically what it looks like right there. Pretty cool. It looks like it's kind of animated. I don't think I've ever seen any plant that's animated. But either way, man, that is going to be the one that you get at a 0.5% chance from the seed pack. But yeah, overall, that pretty much does it for this update. If you guys have any additional questions, like always, let me know in the comment section. I myself or someone else in my community will go ahead and give you an answer. Make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel and drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. We do this every single week for not only Grow a Garden, but we also do it for 99 Nights in the Forest. And we will also be including other games as we progress into the future. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Look at that, dude. The next one already grew out and we haven't even finished talking. Bro, this is crazy. All right, see ya.